Okay, I'd like to call to order the Clarkston Independent District Library Board of Trustee meeting for September 16th. Meeting is called to order at 6:01. Let's rise to the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Jane Martin, absent. Michelle Ginn. Here. Ann Green.
Here.
Mary Henberg. Here. Allison McFadden-Kiesling. Here. Marilyn Pomeroy.
Here.
Ann Rose.
Here. Okay, I'll accept a motion for approval of the agenda.
So moved.
So, second. It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as presented. Any questions or comments? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Call to the public.
Sorry, I have a lot. No, it's all right.
That would be great.
The library board voted in September to purchase in conjunction with the library the logistics volunteer management system, and the goal is to have this system available by January 1st. So we're not going to try and have it for this book sale or even the one in December. The fall book sale begins Tuesday, September 24th from 4 to 6 p.m. I can't speak tonight. From 6 to 8 p.m. for members only. Then on Wednesday, the book sale opens to the public at 10 a.m. through Saturday, September 28th at 2 p.m. and it will be ongoing during the normal business hours of the library. If someone would like to volunteer at the book sale, setup begins on Friday, September 20th through Monday, September 23rd, and you can register to help on Sign Up Genius on the library website. The fall general membership meeting is Thursday, October 24th at 7 p.m. And Bill Bowman, head of IT, will be speaking on cutting the cord and saving dollars. The Friend is still looking to attract new members. We're still looking for a treasurer. We're still looking for president-elect and a book sales committee chairperson. And then hopefully everyone saw the article in the Clarkston News about our party for #1 library, but in case you didn't, Andrea Schroeder awarded a nice gift to Julie.
Great. Thank you.
That wasn't a lot.
It's the same, thank you. The call to the public ends at 6:04. Next comes our public hearing on the millage rate. The public hearing is opened at 6:05. And does anyone have any comments, questions? If not, the public hearing closes at 6:05. Next, the public hearing on the 2020 budget opens at 6:06. Any questions or comments on that? This is following our public workshop on this subject. If not, the public hearing is closed at 6:06. The consent agenda has 7 items. I'll accept a motion.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented. Does anyone want to have a question about any of the 7 items? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Next comes library statistics.
Okay, so in library statistics, you'll see we have a new report. This is from our community relations volunteer coordinator that it has to do with a number of volunteers. Notes from staff, Adrian would like to let us know there were 65 volunteer hours in August, valued at $1,652.95. That brings our year-to-date total since she started this new program at 185.5 hours. valued at $4,717.27. We have a total of 19 volunteers on our roster now, 4 of them being new to the program in August. In August, volunteers helped with summer reading program registration and awarding, the end of summer reading party, button making, youth program prep, preparing outreach mailings, straightening shelves, and making program confirmation phone calls. We're very appreciative of all that assistance. And then from Tracy, our head of Children and Teen Services, she says our summer reading program was a huge success this year. We set a goal of 1,000 registrations this year, including babies through adults, which we reached during the 3rd week of July. The team numbers skyrocketed this year from the 160s to over 255 this year. The children's numbers also jumped by about 100 participants. Team program attendance was also consistently higher, and another plus is that the first program this fall had higher than average attendance as well. So the ones who were attending all summer continued right after the fall programs. Children's programs were also better attended, and she would like to thank youth librarians Tina, Jamie, Rebecca, and Elena. They deserve a special pat on the back. Rebecca's baby arrived in late July, but she was able to work just until before her due date, and the other librarians smoothly stepped in to take over her tasks when it was time for her to go on leave. We plan to do Neighborhood of Stories again next year, our collaboration with the Orion Township Library. It will have a different name to coordinate with the summer theme, and we are hoping to explore other parks and beaches in our communities. And lastly, she says, I'm especially proud of this year's summer reading program. We had significant growth, programs ran smoothly, and we all had a lot of fun. It felt like the entire library staff really worked as a team to make it a great summer for everyone.
Excellent.
So that's sort of the staff
Take.
take on statistics. A little bit of commentary as opposed to just full numbers.
Interesting.
I noticed the adult program attendance is up considerably. I would like to personally say that I thought the opera program was excellent, and I want to compliment Emily and all the staff for that. She was with me, and we had a really good time. I was really impressed by the entire program, entire night. So
That
I'd
was
love
her-
to see more of that.
And that was her very first program.
Oh,
with
was
us,
it?
So she's
Oh.
very excited about it and is thinking about maybe doing it again next year.
Great. Sign me up.
I will pass that along. She's so excited. She'll be happy to hear that.
Any other questions or comments on all of those pages of statistics? No. If not, let's hear from our library director's report.
All right. In terms of general information, we had a great turnout for the reception on August 21st, celebrating our Vote for the Best win. We've received many messages of congratulations from community leaders and residents, and would again like to thank everyone who made this possible. It was just a really fun thing to have happen. I just wanted to point out in a little more detail the additional new statistical report that's included in each month's board packet. Our Community Relations Volunteer Coordinator has invested in an easy-to-use online system to track our volunteers, which we'll be collaborating with the Friends on in the new year. This will provide a better process by which people can apply and schedule time to support the library. In addition, it allows us to report to the board and community the impact volunteers have in enhancing the library's day-to-day operations. As I said, she's discussing with the Friends of the library how the software could be used to assist them in tracking their members and scheduling volunteers for sorting books and preparing for the book sales. By bringing these two aspects of library volunteering together, we hope that people will feel less compartmentalized and see the full variety of library volunteer opportunities available throughout the year. Next item, in terms of our finances. In an effort to streamline the reporting of our finances, you will notice a change in the check detail reports included in the board packets. We discovered a better way to print the report that provides the same information in a more compact form by eliminating wasted white space, thus shortening the average report from 4 pages to a single page. In this board packet, the August 22nd check run includes 2 versions of the same report, so you can easily see how they differ, yet still include the same important information. Then beginning with the September 3rd check run, also in this particular board packet, we are only providing the more streamlined, updated version. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask us about that. We just, like I said, found a better way to print it.
All right.
Next, our annual audit resulted in an unmodified opinion, meaning that we are doing a good job handling the library's finances and budget. However, as part of our audit process, we asked our auditor about best practices and adjustments that we could work toward implementing. We feel there is always room for improvement. During the 2018 audit process, we received the following suggestions. Implement a fund balance policy and review the current fund balance and pass a resolution designating a committed purpose for funds above the fund balance policy amount. These items were discussed at the library board's recent budget workshop, and the board discussed how to approach these tasks. In response to that discussion, I will speak to the library's attorney about drafting these two items, and we'll see that they are added to the October or November agenda for board review. So that's in the works. Project updates. The library's main entrance door was replaced by Motor City Door Company on August 28th. Since the entryway is a custom color that the sun has faded since 1992, the representative suggested that we select a color that coordinates with the building instead of trying to match the surrounding color. This was a great suggestion because the new doors pop, yet still look like they belong. The staff is very pleased with the ease at which these new doors function, so the completion of this long overdue project is a great success. And I'm crossing it off my to-do list.
Yes. Right.
Finally. Next item, recently I put together a staff committee divided into various subcommittees to work on a project to review and overhaul our meeting room policy and procedures. With the addition of the business center and the transition of the computer lab into additional much-needed meeting space, it became clear that we needed to work together on all of the smaller pieces to ensure that everything fit together properly in the end. The subcommittees include policy, procedure, transition and promotion. Key discussions include availability of the various rooms, cost, how each room is equipped, rules for use, and who and what manages the reservations. The full committee met twice, and each subcommittee has met once, with a follow-up meeting on the calendar soon. We anticipate that the board will see the updated meeting room policy on their agenda for review in October or November after the full committee has had ample time to make adjustments and the attorney has been able to review the final document. So that's in the works. Next item, the final steps in transitioning the current computer lab into a conference room are falling into place. The room will officially become the conference room on October 1st and will be available for programs to be reserved for meetings beginning on that date. When not reserved, the space will still be available for open seating, and patrons who do not have their own device or want to use a computer in that area can check out a library laptop from the circulation desk and use our new wireless printing service. We're hoping that people will appreciate the freedom to sit anywhere in the library, not just be tied to a desk. Next item in terms of collaborations, the library participated in the annual Art in the Village event in Depot Park on September 14th and 15th. Each year we have a tent and provide a free craft activity for kids sponsored by the Friends of the Library. This year's activity was a simple STEAM, science, technology, engineering, art, mathematics project in which children made a Halloween card featuring an image of Frankenstein and used copper tape and LEDs to create a circuit that made the eyes glow. This was designed by our staff's maker committee that focuses on providing library programming that embraces lifelong learning and uses your hands to create while having fun. So, it was really fun. I worked 2 shifts. The Friends of the Library Fall Book Sale, just because we can't say this often enough, takes place from Wednesday, September 25th until Saturday, September 28th. And volunteers may sign up, including setup from September 20th through the 23rd on the Friends of Library, the Friends page of the library's website, or call, and the staff would be happy to assist you. In addition, we don't want to forget the amazing bakers from the Church of the Resurrection will be hosting their bake sale in the lobby on Saturday, September 28th. Okay. Phew.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was
Lots going on.
On to regular business.
Okay.
Number 1, the review and approval of the 2020 budget.
Okay. So I have the budget ready for your review on screen. You know what, I'm going to adjust these lights a little bit. So I can turn off the right ones on the first try. Okay. This has been a long process, so I don't know that you're going to see anything on here that will be new to you, although some of the public who may not have been following along since we started this back in April. First of all, I want to talk a little bit about where we've been in 2019. First, we completed the business area and upgraded the study rooms. As a matter of fact, today they were putting in the sound masking units above those rooms to, which the board approved just a meeting or so ago, in order to make them even better. We implemented the library laptop checkout, and we're in the process of transitioning the lab into needed public meeting space. Upgraded wireless access and bandwidth throughout the building. We launched a new wireless printing service. We completed the storage shed collaboration with the Clarkston High School Construction Tech Program. We constructed a circulation office to improve service by moving staff closer to the service desk. We installed 2 new self-checkout stations, last week as a matter of fact. Increased and improved programming for children, teens, and adults. Improved both print and downloadable collections and added a new streaming service. And streamlined the library's records retention practices and retroactively digitized documentation to improve efficiency. So it's been a busy year. We've gotten quite a lot done. In terms of guiding principles going forward, these are going to look familiar. They're very similar to 2019. We want to address continued growth in library usage, both internally and remotely. We want to focus on fiscal management, responsible spending, and proper care of the community's assets, which includes caring for this building that is 27 years old. Improve services for our community and make data-inspired decisions using hard data interfaced with community feedback and input to provide residents with services they truly need and want. So, how are we going to do this? Well, let's start with revenues. So our district-wide voted library millage is 1.25 mils. That was approved in 2014. Headley has rolled that down each year. This coming year will be rolled down to 1.1889. State aid increased slightly in 2019, so I made a slight adjustment to that number because, of course, that's an estimate from one year to the next. We don't know until we get the check how much it's going to be. So I usually estimate that, as you know, a tiny bit low to make sure that there are no surprises if, for whatever reason, that number is not what we expect it to be. Penal fine money also increased slightly in 2019. For those who don't know, penal fine money is the money that comes from, included in the state's constitution. We get a little cut of penalty fines that are for traffic tickets and court costs and that sort of thing, and it's done on a per capita basis at the county level, so we get a check for penal fines. Library fine and duplicating decreased slightly. We did implement auto renew, which helped significantly. Our circulation has gone up because of that. We've seen a little bit of a drop in our fine collection, but that also comes from people being more responsible about getting their books back in a timely fashion. So we made a slight adjustment for that as well. We also adjusted interest. That's an estimate based on performance. And over the past few years, we've been estimating it fairly low because we weren't really sure what was going to happen. And it's been pretty consistent the last few years, so we felt like we could make a safe estimate to be a little bit higher than what we had been doing. Okay, next, employment cost assumptions. In an effort to further improve collaborations with both public and private schools and better address concerns about reading levels, a new full-time position called School Library Liaison has been included in this budget. This is something that the staffing committee reviewed. It was a proposal brought forth by the Children's Department. Our head of Children's Services and I worked very hard on putting this together. And the job description is in your board packet. You did also see it at the budget workshop. As recommended by the Library Board Staffing Committee, a wage increase of 2% for all employees not at the top of their pay scale has been included, with some additional small corrections that have also been included. And for example, the one is our cataloging technician. We made some adjustments to that job description and also to the wage scale. So there's a correction there as well. Healthcare premiums. They'll actually decrease approximately 3%. I know nobody believes that to be the case, but our agent sent us the paperwork. In your board packet later in the meeting, we'll be discussing the actual premiums we'll be paying this year, and they are 3% lower than they were last year. So I took that into consideration. The increase in that budget line is actually attributed to the addition of a new full-time position. Staffing usually accounts for 50 to 65% of the library's budget. Staffing has accounted for 59% of the operating budget for the past 2 years and continues to be at that level in this 2020 budget. So here's our organizational chart. And let me see if I have my little printer. Turn that. Yep, it is. Okay. So the only difference that you're going to see in the organizational chart is right here. This is the full-time school library liaison. It is a librarian position. It is an MLIS. So just as a quick review, we have the director, and we have all of our department heads, and our full-time employees, and our part-time employees, and our interns and pages here. Of the 12 full-time employees that we have on library staff, 7 of them are professional librarians. Any questions about that? And as I said, this new position will be a librarian position. Okay, so in terms of wages and benefits, staffing costs, as I said, usually attributed 50 to 65% of the budget. We are still at 59. We have been for the past 2 years. We have this addition of this full-time position. So you're seeing a slight increase in health insurance, retirement, HCSP, life insurance, and disability, and that is reflected by the fact that we are looking at adding a full-time position. So that's where this number is. This number obviously is a little bit higher because we have made some adjustments to wages, and then also taking into consideration some changes in staff. Any questions about any of that? Okay, so on to operating costs. So if we look at our operating costs, so operating supplies, there is a slight increase in that due to increased library usage. We're seeing a decrease in audit fees due to a new contract. Now remember that we bid that out, and we did take the low bid, and it is slightly less expensive than it had been in the past. There's a decrease in our telephone line, and that is due to our new phone system that we added that is an IP system, which is less expensive than analog lines. We no longer have analog lines. There's a decrease in the printing budget, fairly significant, $10,000 drop in that. That's due to the completion of several one-time projects. So the signage over the door and some of those kinds of things, those were one-shot projects, we got those done. And so this reflects more of a maintenance on our printing and marketing and that kind of thing. Adjustments in building and grounds maintenance to address additional facilities maintenance and repairs due to deferred maintenance of the past. That's a continuing and an ongoing thing. As you know, you made a big budget adjustment not too long ago, just a couple meetings ago, because of the fire suppression system and that kind of thing. You'll see changes in the subscription, professional contract services, and equipment maintenance. Those are all pretty much just us shuffling some things around to make them easier to track. They're not actually changes in purchasing or planning, just making sure that things are going into proper line items so that we can pull them out more easily for reporting for the state aid report that we do every year. The building budget is based on 3 anticipated projects. We've been wanting to do a remodel of this community meeting room, and we are not able to get to that this year, so we wrote it into next year's budget. Adjustments to the staff work area, because we're going to need to make some changes in order to accommodate that additional full-time employee. And then also we want to do some adjustments for storage in the back, which is something that has been on the table for quite some time, and we're finally to the point where we have the shed out back, we've got some things moved out, so we should be able to make some adjustments in our storage area. And then finally, the equipment budget accommodates the anticipated upgrades based on our 3-year technology plan. You do have the 3-year technology plan in your board packet. I'm happy to answer any questions about that if you have any. You'll see that Bill updated it as you requested in the budget workshop. We had talked about some things, and a couple of you had mentioned wanting to see more detail. He has what has been updated in 2018, what is in the works for 2019, and then the things that he anticipates doing in 2020. So, any questions about any of the technology plan?
Would you address the line 915 sales tax, why there was none budgeted last year?
We had no idea what to expect, so we figured we would do it with a budget adjustment.
Okay.
The library has never actually sold anything. So sales tax just means what we do is if we sell anything and we collect any sales tax, we have to turn it over to the state, but we have to take it out of some line item. The only thing we really sell are like earbuds and flash drives, like emergency needs for the staff or for the public. Mm-hmm. We're really only turning over sales tax on a monthly basis of a few dollars.
Okay.
So when I talked to the accountant, she said, we're not going to budget anything until we know what you need. You can always have your board make a budget adjustment. Mm-hmm. It's been a very, very small amount of money. Previously, anything that had been sold in this building was sold by the feds.
Okay.
So that way we weren't doing double sales tax reporting, mm-hmm. But there are things that it's easier for us to sell.
Certainly.
Yeah. So, okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Okay, so here's the big picture in teeny tiny print. Everything we just went over. Didn't realize quite how small that was going to look on the big screen. But you do have it in your board packet, so if you have any questions, it is pretty much what we just talked about. This bottom part is that revenue part I talked about first. This top part is that staffing section that I talked about second, and this middle part is that operating that I talked about third. And then a review of those big projects that are on the horizon. I did mention in the narrative where we would like to do strategic planning this year, so I have budgeted in money to do that process. New technology in what is now or will be the conference room that was previously the computer lab. Our business center has that smart board in it, and people are loving that, so we would like to do something similar in the computer lab, which will now be a conference room as well. Obviously, the community meeting room remodel that we just talked about. All the chairs and everything that's in here is 27 years old, and it's time to freshen some of them up. The chairs are not holding up as well as they were before, so it's time to do some replacement. Those adjustments in the staff work area, and then the improved storage. Any questions about any of these projects? No? No? Okay. And then just some final comments, and I put this in the narrative, but would like to reiterate it. Community engagement and collaboration continue to be top priorities for the library board and the staff. Providing a library with services that fit our community needs are at the forefront of our decision making and daily workflow. Included in this 2020 budget is funding to conduct and implement the strategic planning process, and we look forward to working side by side with our residents to ensure that this library is everything that the community hopes it will be and makes it one of the reasons people love it. Any questions about the budget?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Julie.
It's great.
That's why we have a budget workshop meeting.
That's right. That's right.
I was prepared with all kinds of documentation and backup material, but I think you guys have seen so much of it. So.
All right, so we have reviewed the staffing for, we've reviewed the full-time school liaison, librarian format, the cataloging technician. We've gone through all of the wages. Any other questions or concerns? We have our priority list, technology inventory. So, are we ready to make some motions? Is this a roll call?
It does need, the budget is a resolution that is included in your packet. There needs to be a resolution to set the millage rate, that's a roll call. And there's a resolution establishing the budget for 2020, that's also a roll call. The other pieces, so the updated organizational chart that includes that new position. That does not need to be a roll call. To approve the two updated job descriptions, the school liaison and the cataloging technician, that can be a straight vote. And then the updated wage ranges is also just a straight vote.
So you want them one at a time, right?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay.
So let's start with the resolution setting the millage rate.
I move to approve the resolution setting the millage rate as presented.
Second?
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve a resolution setting the millage rate as presented, which is rolled down again. All right. Any questions about that? If not, let's have a roll call, please.
Jan Catherine absent. Michelle Ginn?
Yes.
Dan Green?
Yes.
Mary Himberg?
Yes.
Allison McDadden-Keesling?
Yes.
Marilyn Pomeroy?
Yes.
Ann Rose?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll now accept a motion to approve the resolution establishing our budget.
I move to approve the resolution establishing the Clarkston Independence District Library 2020 budget as presented.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the resolution establishing the Clarkston Independence District Library 2020 budget as presented. Any comments or questions? I want to thank everyone for working well in our public workshop where we hashed out all of these details. If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Roll call,
Oh,
sorry.
roll call, that's right.
Jane Gaffney, absent Michelle Ginn,
Yes.
Dan Green,
Yes.
Mary Himberg,
Yes.
Allison McFadden Kiesling,
Yes.
Marilyn Pomeroy,
Yes.
Ann Rose.
Yes.
Now you're done with roll call.
Yes. Always forget at least one of those.
That's all right. We got it.
All right. Now we need a motion to approve our updated organizational chart.
Okay, I move that we approve the updated 2020 organizational chart as presented.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the updated 2020 organizational chart as presented. Any comments or questions? You did well to get it all on one page.
It's not easy.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Next, we need to approve job descriptions.
I move to approve the job descriptions for school liaison librarian and cataloging technician as presented.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the job descriptions for the school liaison librarian and the cataloging technician as presented. Any questions or comments about either of those? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion is carried. And finally, in relation to our budget, we need an approval for updated wage ranges.
I move to approve the updated wage ranges and the 2020 wage schedule as presented.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the updated wage ranges and the 2020 wage schedule as presented. Any questions or comments about that? If not, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Thank you. That's a big job. It's a big job for the director, and we appreciate
Yes, we do.
Glad to cross
The
that
work.
one off the to-do for a little while.
All right, let's talk about accounting services.
Okay, this is from Jan Gaffney and I. She and I have been talking about this. She's unavailable this evening, but she is fully aware of all of this. It has been approximately 5 years since the library separated from the township and contracted for accounting services. The time has come to review and update our accounting needs and post an RFP for these services. In August, we sent a letter to our current accounting firm, Post Smythe, Lutz & Zeal, letting them know that we intended to post an RFP for the coming year. In return, we received 2 letters outlining recent changes within the firm. Their accountant that handles library accounts, including ours, decided to leave the firm to become an independent contractor. The principal accountant at Post Smythe, Lutz & Zeal feels that we would be better served to continue to contract with her directly for the same price for the remainder of the year in order to provide continuity of service for this fiscal year. They do not have someone else on staff that can easily pick up our account and provide a smooth transition for the last quarter. I spoke to the accountant and she is agreeable to this as well. This does not change our strategy in regards to posting an RFP and actually provides an appropriate opportunity and transparent process for all involved. We propose posting the RFP on the following timeline. In September, the library board reviews and approves an RFP for accounting services, which is what is in your packet at the moment. In October, the RFP is posted and submissions are reviewed. In November, the board receives recommendations and awards a contract, and as of January 1st, 2020, a new contract would begin. This plan will allow us to finish out the year with consistent service using the accountant who has handled the account for the past 5 years, give the current accountant an opportunity to work on the account as an independent to determine if she is still interested in seeking us as a client going forward, and provide a fair and transparent process in selecting a new accountant. Most importantly, going through an RFP process at this time is valuable because as staffing and workflows have changed in the library's administrative office, the tasks of our accountant have shifted. In addition, we have been able to streamline many processes and may be able to reduce the need for an accountant to do various tasks since we have better segregation of tasks. Attached is an updated RFP for accounting services that takes these changes into account. And we did talk to our current accountant as well as both Erica and Debbie, and they, everybody's on board with the changes that we have on the team.
It's very generous of the company to go ahead and
Yes.
we'll let the accountant continue.
It was, they've been together a long time, and I think what she wanted was to downsize and just take on a handful of clients. But with her leaving, she was the one that handled all of their library accounts. And they don't have anybody who would be able to transition as easily. By the time we got them on board with everything, the year would be over. And they just felt like this was in the best interest of both their firm and our accounts.
It's good for everybody.
It is.
So everyone is agreeable with this. Are there any questions about the request for proposal accounting services? Looks very clear.
This is actually based on the engagement letter that we have with our current accountant. So we based it on that, and then we made some adjustments. And actually, our accountant suggested some things that we could take on that she said, really, you are capable of doing some of these things yourselves, and it would be less expensive if you did them instead of having me do them. And so she actually encouraged us to consider doing some of that, which she did when they took the account originally, because we had a much more robust RFP. And when they got in here, she said, no, you don't really want to pay me to do some of this.
It's good, we need all that advice,
Yes.
especially when we were getting
Yes.
started.
Yep.
Indeed, when we were starting, so
Yes.
that was excellent. Okay, so everything appears to be in order. I'm willing to accept a motion.
I move to approve the RFP for accounting services as presented.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the accounting services and reprove the RFP as presented. There are no further questions. Everything is clear and in the packet. Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Next, number 3 is a review and approval of the HAP renewal.
Each year at this time, we review the health insurance plan that covers the full-time library employees. This year, our insurance agent recommends the renewal of the HAP 1200 Gold PPO. There's a slight change in coverage, which includes a $15 decrease in office visit copay, a $5 decrease in specialist office visit copay, a $5 decrease in urgent care copay, and a $5 decrease in generic prescription copay. Despite these changes, which are improvements in coverage, we are seeing a 3% decrease in the plan premium. It is the agent's recommendation that we renew this plan as presented. And I know, I
It's going down.
I know, we're
Someday
gonna take
you get
it.
Great news.
It didn't happen that way for quite a while.
No, it
did
did
not.
So every year was uptick, uptick.
Uptick, yep, and now we are seeing some
Down.
leveling and even a little bit of a decrease. So.
Okay, any questions or comments? Everyone has reviewed the HAP plan. It's in your packet. In that case, I will accept a motion.
I move to approve the renewal of the HAP 1200 Gold PPO plan as presented and authorize the library director to sign the paperwork on behalf of the library.
Second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to approve the renewal of the HAP 1200 Gold PPO plan as presented and authorize Julie to sign the paperwork on behalf of the library. Any questions or comments? In that case, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. Motion is passed.
Thank you very much.
Now, work for us.
That's right.
Saved it for last.
Number 4, the library director and library board evaluations.
So the timing for all libraries' annual performance reviews take place from September through December. This includes a process of evaluating the library director and a self-review by the library board. At this time, the library board should select a performance review subcommittee to set a timeline to complete these tasks. So I have included in your packet the library director performance review plan as the board approved back in 2017, and the library board self-evaluation plan that the board put in place in 2018. So I'm going to volley this one to you.
And I had my list of who was on each committee last year, and what did I do with it?
I was on this one last year.
I think you
I
were,
think I was
yeah.
on this one last year.
I have a lovely spreadsheet that when you do those tallies for the library board
Yeah.
self-review that I can load it all in and it automatically tallies up everything. So
That
I
would
still have
help.
that, so.
You were on it?
Yes,
Amazon.
I'm on both of them, because the
Okay.
president is on both of these, and the other members, are you willing to continue?
Me? Sure. Yeah.
Let's review, if I could just find my list of who was on each of these committees last year. Actually, Ann, Allison, and I were on the self-evaluation. And Vicki, Dan, and I were on the director review. Is that acceptable to everyone?
I can continue with that. Unless Allison would like to.
So if we're up for that,
Repeat this back and make sure I've got it.
so we have library director review is Nikki, Dan, and Marilyn.
I got it.
And the library board evaluations are,
Marilyn, Allison, and
yes,
Dan.
and Ann.
Okay.
So do we need to set, we need to get the forms.
Right.
I can provide the forms, they're on our shared drive. Actually, all the staff can get to the forms, so. It looks like for the director self-review, each library board member completes a library director performance review form. And then the performance review subcommittee provides a library director performance review form to one staff member in each department. And those go directly to the board president. And then the performance review subcommittee meets to compile all of that.
So we need a timeline. Yep. It would be nice if we could get those so that we could meet, let's say, in the middle of October.
You're talking about both committees?
Yes,
Okay.
that is true. Because we have 2 weeks of September left. So if we could have those so that we could work on them.
Sure.
Okay. So everybody, I believe the self-review, I read through this earlier, but I need to take a quick look at it again. Each library board member and the library director with additional staff input as needed complete the board self-evaluation questionnaire and submit to the performance review subcommittee. So I need to make sure each one of you gets one of those.
So actually, they could go into our mailbox.
Yep, I can do that.
Is that acceptable to everyone?
Yes.
Okay.
Do we want to set a date for review tonight?
Yeah, I think that sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah. You're talking about a deadline, first of all, for us to meet, or a deadline for people they haven't returned? Because there's nothing to meet unless the forms are returned.
The forms have to be returned
Yeah.
first.
So I think first of all, we have to figure out what the deadline is for the forms to be returned in a reasonable amount of time, right?
Right. So we have
2 weeks.
actually 2 weeks left in this month. And then in October, our meeting is the 14th.
So if we had a return at the end of September, we could meet the first week of October, both committees, maybe. What do you think? Does that sound good? We can't do
First
that.
week in October.
Yeah.
Is Monday a good day?
Monday is usually a good day.
We could see about meeting on the 7th. That's a week before our meeting. Thinking.
Yeah, things are clicking up there weird.
Or anytime during that week.
I think that Monday would be good. I think that Monday would be good.
So that's our goal to meet.
Okay. It looks good from a meeting room standpoint. There's more than one room you can have access to. You have the business. It's a small group, so you can have
Right.
business on it if you like.
Because you're talking about the directors.
Monday.
Now,
meeting on Monday.
this would, right, so this would be for the library director. So this would be Mickey, Dan, and I.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which one are you on?
Okay, so this is the library director
You're on the
committee.
You guys
Three of
are
us.
Monday the 7th.
Right. We could decide after the meeting what's a good time.
That's,
Don't like Monday, not
yes, I
Monday
think that would
morning.
be a good idea.
Okay.
Monday morning
So
is
we'll
not good.
give you a time.
Okay, that's fine.
Now, the self-evaluation,
Right.
we could discuss that if we want to at the next board meeting, which is the 14th.
Oh, okay, just get, okay.
You want to meet a little before that,
Yeah.
maybe after the meeting?
Would you like to meet a little bit?
You three?
We three.
Yes.
Would we like to meet a little bit after the meeting or a little bit before the meeting on the 14th?
I get here at 5:30, can't really be here before 5:30. I don't think it's gonna take that long.
No.
Let's meet at 5:30.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Okay,
So you'll meet October 15th,
October
I'm
14th?
sorry,
It's
14th.
Monday, right?
14th, Monday, yes, I'm sorry. So you have the 15th on the brain.
Self-eval
At 5:30. is good.
committee, yeah.
All right. And that also looks good. You could meet in here or you could meet in the business center.
Sure.
Okay,
Sounds great.
thank you.
I have another suggestion.
Good.
Yeah.
Um,
Do we need to meet the whole week before the meeting, or could we also meet to facilitate, to crunch time together, meet at 5 o'clock that day for half an hour before our meeting on the 14th?
It's okay with me.
How about we?
Yeah, good.
So, no, not yours. Yours. Ours changed today. We'll change, so we're all meeting on the 14th,
You like the 14th?
but we'll meet at 5.
Okay.
And we'll meet at 5:30.
And then we'll all meet at 6.
And we'll all meet at 6, yes.
Does that seem overwhelming, Marilyn?
That's all
Are
right.
you?
That's okay.
She's tough.
I can do that.
Well, it sounds mostly like it'll just be a meeting for you to consolidate and divvy up work. So if there's any compilation to be done, who's going to do
We'll be
those
ready
pieces
to-
and parts and whatever.
Sure.
Okay.
Do that so that we
All right.
can do our presentations and so forth in November.
Super.
That would be nice.
Okay.
All right.
Is there two days?
Now, yes, the date for things to be turned in.
That's right, so we can collect them all.
This is by the 7th.
October 7th?
Yeah, sure, that sounds great.
That gives everybody 3 weeks.
All right. I'm going to put them in your mailboxes tomorrow, so.
I missed what you just said. Back on the 7th?
So they're due
Back on.
back on the
The
7th.
forms need to be completed. Good.
All right.
Okay. So we've discussed and made some timelines.
Good.
All right.
There's a department head meeting tomorrow. Would you like me to pass out the directory forms to the department heads and tell them to return them to you?
Yes,
Okay.
into my mailbox.
Into your mailbox. Okay, we'll do that.
Because I'll be gone for a few days, but I will be back by the 1st, so.
Last time, I think what they did was the department heads sat down with their employees and did it together so that everybody had an opportunity to input.
They had options
Yep, okay.
to do it different ways, and
I'm just going to tell them to do it and talk to you if they have questions. I'm just going to make sure they have the forms in their hands.
that will be fine.
And then I'm getting out of the way.
Yes. So you have the meeting tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay.
I just want to get them started so that you get the forms back in a timely fashion.
All right. Any other comments or questions about that process? If not, I will accept a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn. I'm sure there are no comments. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Meeting is adjourned at 6:50. Thank you
Wonderful.
very much.
Great.